of the Weekend of Knowledge Evolution 2019 is an initiative by the Malaysian Institute for Debate and Public Speaking to basically bring to the front issues that impact everyday Malaysian. The theme for this year's Weekend of Knowledge Evolution is Voices of Malaysia. Considering the importance of expression, the importance of information in the 21st century, we wish to unpack a lot of the issues that either limits or surrounds issues regarding to expression and also information. Also, my name is Izzat from the Malaysian Institute for Debate and Public Speaking. So we have an exciting set of events for this portion of the day. We have a forum which we will later witness that discusses who is killing Malaysian media. We have a keynote speech by one of our partners, the Institute of Journalists Malaysia, and we also have an exciting public debate later on whether we should be referencing gender, race, religion, or any form of identities in the media today. So before we start, I'd like to first invite the Chief Executive Officer of the Malaysian Institute for Debate and Public Speaking to welcome everyone and say a few words. Ms. Amelia Sharif, please welcome.
Hey guys, how are you doing? Good. Okay, it's always awkward when I ask a question to the audience and no one answers, so I'm glad that some answer. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about MIDP, what we do, and like these events, right? What it is all about. So the Malaysian Institute for Debate and Public Speaking, MIDP, is an educational institution that works on the development of human capital in Malaysia. And we do that through the promotion and development of leadership and soft skills. We offer classes as part of our training program to kids as young as 7 years old, all the way to adults. Should I say an age, maybe like 50 plus, 40 plus, we still have those age groups within our student pool. We also run external training at schools, universities, and basically also corporates who invite us to maybe teach their salesmen on how to pitch and stuff like that, right? So debating and public speaking is something that is very close to our hearts because to a lot of us debaters, everyone has struggles, right? I was personally a very quiet person. I'm very introverted. I'm definitely not comfortable speaking in front of a large crowd. After an event, I want to go home and not see anyone, you know? But that's the thing about debating or communication skills, critical thinking and communication skills. These things are skills, they're not talent. And at MIDP, we believe that they can be taught. And especially when you think you're timid or introverted, that's all the more reasons to catch up and learn these skills as you go along. So Weekend of Knowledge Evolution is part of an advocacy program that we do on an annual basis, and the aim is to bring debating out to the public. Because if you know a little bit about the debating community, you will know that we're quite closed, like shy, I don't know. So the kind of things we do over the weekends usually is like quiz night or board game nights with each other. We don't like interact with the public so much. But this is one of the very rare opportunities that debaters in Malaysia have to actually interact with the public and showcase the amazing debaters that we have with us right now. And I'm also very, very glad to tell you that the debates that you will watch later on will feature some of the best debaters, not just in Malaysia, but also in Asia. We have the best speaker in Asia right now. We'll be debating that debate later on, and I hope you'll enjoy the speeches as well. And before I end my speech, I just have to thank the Institute of Journalists Malaysia for all the support and all the help, and in particular Chuck, because IOJ and Chuck is not just our partner that advises on things, but Chuck is also our emotional support system. So very, very thankful for all the times that Chuck answered our question when we can't quite figure out what to do with like certain things. So I'm just going to introduce you to the team members in case some of you want to talk to us later on. So here we have Izzat. Izzat is our Business and Development Manager, Business and Operations Manager. And that's Vishal over there. At the back we have Wesley. And somewhere is Azim. Okay. If you have questions, you can approach us later on. I don't want to waste any more time. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really, really grateful to see all of you guys here. And let's start with the forum. And I hope you stay until the debate, okay? Don't go back. So you'll have the forum forum first, and then keynote speech, and then debate. So I hope you stay throughout the entire thing because it will be interesting. Okay, thanks.
All right, we will now be proceeding with the forum. For your information, the forum, which is on who is killing Malaysian media, it will be moderated by the chairman of the Institute of Journalists Malaysia, Mr. Chak On Lau, and the panelists will be the following. We have the general manager of Karangkraf, Mr. Ahmad Nazri. We have an editor of Astro Awani, Ms. Melissa Idris. We have the senior editor of the Star Online, A. Asohan, and Kini, Mr. Stephen Gunn. And with that being said, I would like to formally invite the panelists as well as the moderator to please take their seats at the front so that we may begin. All right, I'll now pass the floor to our moderator, Chuck. Floor is yours.
Thanks, everybody. How's everybody doing? Good? All right, good to hear. All right, so we're going to keep this panel casual and lively. I think one of the things that I wanted to start off with before asking any of our panelists questions is, out of everybody here, how many people from the media? Oh, okay, not bad, quite a few. Now, the second question, how many people here know that media in general is in trouble? Oh, wow, why are we even here? We can go home already. That's the message done. Okay, so with that, now I kind of know what the floor is like. Let me just start off with our panelists with a question that I already warned before we got on stage. I want you guys to say how many years you've been in the media, and then we'll start with the one who's been in the media the longest. Okay. Sohan, how many years?
So anxious.
How many years?
I'm the oldest here.
But how many years?
Really old.
How many years in media?
Okay, except for 6 years, for 2 years stint in PR, and about 30 years now.
30 years. Wow. Okay, Stephen?
25.
25, Melissa?
About 15.
And Nazri?
25.
25. Okay, so you and Stephen are tied.
I win.
Okay, so basically what we're going to do is very quickly bring you through the 30 years you did in media, so everyone kind of gets a background of where you've been before.
Oh, okay. Well, I started my career in journalism working for the Tech Pulau in the Star. And in fact, the Star Online was a special project within Intech, which was the Tech Pulau. So I spent about 18 years there. And then at one stage, I left journalism and joined Microsoft for a couple of years in PR. Missed journalism and went back because, you know, it's a big hassle being able to pay your bills on time. I decided to go back into journalism and start studying it. And after a couple of other tech journalists and I, including Karanjit Singh from The Edge, we co-founded this tech news portal called Digital News Asia, which is still operating. But in 2016, I was asked by some people to come back to the Star because we are undergoing, like so many other industries, digital transformation initiative. They wanted me to help with that. So.
Right, cool. And Stephen, when do you go next?
I started off as a freelance journalist when I was based in Hong Kong. And that's because I wanted to travel around, so I was more or less a backpack journalist. I managed to really visit quite a lot of countries in Asia while earning my keep as a journalist, writing for all sorts of magazines and newspapers and all that. After 4 years, I got tired and decided to come back to Malaysia, join The Sun as their special issue editor, mostly looking after investigative journalism. But of course, after a couple of years, facing quite a number of, quite a lot of censorship, I decided that to go back overseas. I went to Thailand, worked there as an editorial writer for The Nation, which is an English language newspaper, and it was just shut down. So not very, the good news there. And I came back again in 1999, seminar year. Reformasi demonstration was happening here in Malaysia. In fact, I still remember that Hayes was around. He's still around today. Oh God! And Mahathir was around then. So some things don't change really. But anyway, set up Malaysia Kini. So that's been we're celebrating our 20th anniversary this year in November.
Come on.
Thank you.
Okay, Nazir, your turn.
Okay, despite being trained in engineering and in my MBA, I always had a love for literature. So after working for a multinational, in 1993, I founded Micro Magazine. It's an IT magazine in Penang. And then it was bought over by Current Craft in 1999, and I've been there ever since. But I've transitioned from editorial to management now.
Right, you did training before as well, right?
Yeah, training during my entrepreneurial years before Current Craft bought over me.
Right. Okay. Finally, Melissa, Age Before Beauty.
Hi everyone, I'm Melissa. I started out as a rookie reporter in Bernama. After a couple of years there, I moved on to do Islamic finance, and then got kind of tired of the journalism scene locally, and I thought, well, I've got newsroom experience now, maybe I need journalism school experience. So I took a break and I went to do my master's in journalism in Australia, came back, and I went, oh no, there are no jobs. I turned on the radio one day and said, hey, this is quite a cool radio station. What station is this? And it was BFM. And I submitted my resume there and ended up working there for 8 years. So I've just recently left BFM at the start of this year and am now an anchor and an editor at Astro One, where I host a nightly news commentary show as well as a weekly women's empowerment show.
Right. Okay. So now that we know all the speakers, let's move on to the first question. And the first one is already quite controversial. We wanted to talk about the quality of journalism today. And since all of you have at least, a few years of experience between all of you, I think, is there a century on here? I think it's all. I mean, including me, there's probably a century of media
How many
experience.
years of experience do you have, John?
Mine is about 18 years.
All right, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're hitting a century.
Yep. Okay, so with that, how has the quality of journalism changed in the last 15 to 20 years? Who wants to go first? Anybody? Stephen Dunn. Okay, here we go. How has the quality of journalism changed in the last 15 to 20 years?
I think definitely in one sense it has.
We have an audio issue.
Okay, good. I think in one sense, situation has gone down to a certain extent because of the fact that with online media, you need to be really, really fast. So the attention span is lower. People are writing shorter content and all that. But I would like to differ in the sense that I think we are today producing some of the best journalism. Partly because thanks to technology. Because if you look at Panama Papers, it was a leak of 10 million documents, 2.6 terabytes of data. And here, by using technology, we are able to distill information from that into the stories that would actually rock the world to a certain extent, which Malaysia King was part of, and that's great. I think something like that would not happen 10 years ago, for instance, because that it's difficult for someone to really. It would take an entire team, perhaps a few years, to really come up with reports of to really distill some of these things and to find the patterns in the documents. So I think that in some ways it is we are doing better journalism today thanks to technology, because we are able to use technology to really find patterns in the massive data that we have. Number one, number two, also we are able to actually use technology to actually tell our stories better. And it's not just using text, but also graphics, animation, video, everything. So in that sense, I think I'm really, really positive. I think that journalism is still here to stay, and that we will continue to produce good journalism.
Okay, now I'll turn to Melissa. So you've come to you're probably the youngest journalist here, and I assume that when you came in, you had some ideals of what journalism should be.
Oh, yes.
And how has that changed now that you've been in the industry?
Well, you have your kind of hero reporters, and you think that you're going to come in and change the world, right? You're gonna come in and make the world a better place. And then when I guess when I started, it was a different landscape, and I've been very lucky because your question was, what has changed in the past 15 years? And that's the entirety of my career in journalism. So the evolution of it, for me personally, has really been the advent of the 24-hour news cycle. So growing up, I would look at the papers as the benchmark for journalism. I would look at the nightly news as, that's where everyone gathered in front of the TV, and that was where you got your news of the day. And then it became this 24-hour news cycle in the last 15 years. And that was at the same time with the rise of social media, where everyone has an opinion. 24-hour news cycle combined with social media just means the speedier dissemination of news. It meant 24 hours, second by second dissemination of news. And while I'm optimistic, like Stephen, that journalism has gotten better because of technology, I also think there have been trade-offs. I think that very minor news have become major news in the age of 24-hour news cycle. I think that perhaps journalists are limited by the time constraints. And also, you're feeding this insatiable monster of news. The hunger for news cannot be sated by anything. And it's just I guess that has been the biggest change for me in the past 15 years.
Sorry, Asohan, turning to you, right? So you were at the Star twice, right? You went there, then you had your Vision Quest, you went to Microsoft and DNA and all that, and then you came back. What changed?
Well, because when I left and when I started DNA, we were already aware. I agree with you. The 24-hour news cycle is really the biggest enemy of journalism right now. Because we need to get news fast. We don't always have the luxury to do all the things that a proper journalist should do, which is to double, to verify. We do it, right? But it's like really, really because by the time by the time we are able to verify information, social media has gone to town with it, and it may not be accurate. And so we feel the pressure to act even faster, right? So that's one issue. What has changed is that when I left, the internet is not killing journalism in the sense that everyone's talking about digital is killing off the newspaper industries. Digital has been around since Malaysia came in the Star Online. It's been more than 25 years, right? The internet is not the issue. For me, the two biggest trends in the last few years that is threatening the journalism industry, not just the newspaper industry, but journalists themselves. If you look at all the layoffs that have been happening in pure play digital media in the US, it's one. So the two biggest trends is one, media consumption behavior has changed, and that is being driven by number two, the smartphone, right? People want their news here and now. They don't want it long, and Stephen was saying, they want short bits. They don't really, in many ways, they don't want to consume journalism. They want to consume talking points that they can go to the Mama stall or on their social media and talking without actually clicking and reading articles.
Okay, wait. So, ladies and gentlemen, today's topic is who's killing Malaysian media. We have the first suspect, and the first suspect is you. Okay, go on.
Well, yeah. In fact, it's all of it. Media consumption behavior has changed. That's why you have. See, I like to draw the difference between, say, chili sauce and other curation sites. When an issue happens, they go in deep, right? They will feed off our journalism. They will base the stories on what the media brings, but they go in a different direction and they do their own journalism around it, and they come up with very engaging articles without explaining things. But you see other curation sites where it's just 2 lines link, 2 lines link, 2 lines link, you talking points so you can have a chat with your friends. And anecdotally, I find that very few people click on the links. So it's not like 20 years ago there were curation sites as well, but you usually click. So I'm telling you, you want to save journalism, all of us, because journalism is a very important part of democracy. Don't just read the talking points. Click and read the whole articles.
Okay, excellent. Nasri, so we have some really interesting talking points there already. So I want to get into the quality of journalism and also maybe go into the difference in consumption of media in the last 20 years. You know, like from when you started to until now, how people are consuming. Just shortly before that, how many people here have actually picked up a magazine before? Okay. Yeah, so you used to run a magazine. Maybe you can start with how journalism was like back in the magazine and what it's like today.
Okay. Current crowd, at one time we used to have 35 magazines, printed magazines. And now, after the joint venture with Astro, we have only 10 printed magazines. So from there you can see it has reduced about 70% the printed magazines. But we have websites to replace it, and we're getting more traction that way. So in a way, it's better than before. We have more unique visitors, page views, more people who are interested to read. So in that way, it's better than before, because before you have to buy, mainly free. But that is also our challenge, to replace what we lost in the cover price, which was 5 ringgit, 6 ringgit. We lost that, and we don't have a paywall yet, like the Shakini. So we are planning, we're thinking of that. So the challenge now is to serve our audience, but at the same time be sustainable. So that is the challenge that I feel that media organizations must take on and try. Otherwise, just to add on to the other panel's views, what's affected us is not just the choices, the public choices to read trivial big articles, but actually it's the algorithm. That's the world. There's social media, and the algorithm rewards the articles that are shared, engage most, like the likes, and those articles tend to be trivial, entertaining, funny, and not intellectual, not educational at all. So I think that's the enemy of the quality media, the algorithm, followed by people who surrender themselves to the algorithm. That could be the second enemy of quality media. They surrender themselves to endless scrolling, and they are being fed by the algorithm. So I would say one is the algorithm, and we know who's behind those algorithms: the Googles, the Facebooks, the duopolies of the internet world. So they run the social media now and the internet, followed by people who succumb to the allure of the algorithm, the mindless feeds, news feeds all day long.
So on that point, so basically now you're saying that entertainment and salacious content gets more page views and more shares, which also in a way contributes to the largeness of the site, the effectiveness of advertisers and so on and so forth. Then what kind of thought process do you guys put before saying, I want to publish entertainment or want to publish something intellectual and journalistic?
If I may refer to Leshakini, Leshakini have a paywall site, but it's in English. But they have a Bahasa Malaysia site which generates lots of page views. So we also, in a sense, use that strategy. We have to have those popular articles. We have to have it to have the necessary or sufficient page views, the unique visitors, which can create, which can generate advertising, digital advertising. But we still produce those quality, intellectual, educational, nation-building articles, because it's one of our ethos, which is to be sincere, to be fair, but also to contribute to a better nation, a better tomorrow for all nations. So we are some sort of a social business also, not just profit making. So we have to play both games, the popularity game and the nation building game.
It's sad, but we hope to lure you into good journalism. That's what most newsrooms have to operate, right? Catch you with a sexy story. Hopefully, you stay on and read the actual news pieces.
Yes.
Okay, so Nazmi, that was a very, very interesting point just now where you said that you're running a social business so that it's not driven by profit. Not entirely driven by profit, but driven by some sort of goodwill. You want to do better for mankind. Do you guys agree that journalism has become a social business?
Has become, it's always, I mean, I wouldn't use social business, but it's always been about the foreign estate, right? That's what we're all in here for. I mean, our bosses may think otherwise. I mean, the business owners may think otherwise. They're there, for them, it's the bottom line. Bottom line, that's most important. But for everyone else, in a news organization, that's what you're there for.
But do you think that the upper management is driven by profit or profit plus doing some sort of good for society?
That goes with different newsrooms now. I would like to think so that in ours it's still, you want to do good journalism but make some money out of it so you can pay our people.
Thanks. I think journalism is a calling, right? I think, it is not for those who want to make money. You want to make money, you go into something else, not journalism. So in that sense, it started that way, and I think media organization has always been set up as such, as a organization that would provide information so that the people or citizens could be better informed, so that they can make better decisions. I mean, that's the whole idea that democracy is basically for a vibrant democracy, you need to make sure that voters go to the ballot box to make informed choice. And to do that, is that they read the news. So I think that's the whole idea. But I think in between, a lot of tycoons and all that, media tycoons and all that, definitely they were drawn into ensuring that media organization make a lot of money. And in 10, 20 years ago, they do. In fact, if you look at some of the big media organizations, they are actually pulling in some of the, in terms of percentage, some of it much bigger than a lot of other companies. So, but not anymore though. So I think it is really, at the end of the day, that is what journalism is all about, and that's what journalism should aspire to. But of course, you need to make a profit because you need to sustain yourself at the end of the day, because otherwise, how are you going to remain independent if you continue to rely on, say, for instance, tycoons to fund you.
If I could just add a little bit on that, but from a different perspective, because they're talking about the perspective of upper management, right? Shareholders making profit. Just to ride on Stephen's point about journalism being a vocation and you won't get paid, as you're not going to make big bucks being a journalist. One of the things I'm seeing as a working journalist in a working newsroom in the past 20 years, and it's been a bit of a concern for me, is the rise of the elite newsroom. Because journalism has become quite an elite profession, because it doesn't pay, what happens is you've got people, young journalists from very elite and privileged backgrounds becoming journalists, young journalists. When I was a rookie reporter, there was a guy with me who had SPM qualification, didn't have a degree, but he worked the ranks, right? And he rose through the ranks because he was a really hardworking, smart young reporter. But now you have, graduates from Ivy Leagues competing for internships in journalism or in newsrooms with not just local graduates, but people who don't have degrees. Now, what that has kind of created are newsrooms that are homogenous and herd mentality. So that's the kind of trend that I'm keeping my eye on. Newsrooms that don't reflect the diversity that we want to see in our news reporting.
Wow, didn't know about that. People in Ivy Leagues are flying.
So when I was in when I was in BFM, we had great interns, but many of my interns were Ivy League graduates, or in between semesters. And I see a former intern of mine here, who's also from a very prestigious school, Russian, raise your hand. So the danger is because we have so few newsrooms, when newsrooms and so few reported jobs, when those jobs are filled by people who are of a certain social class, what kind of reporting are we getting? What happens when the fourth estate is almost indistinguishable from all the other estates that they are watching? What happens if the reporter is the anak of the Tan Sri, of the minister, of whatever, right? You don't want that. We want to be mindful of that.
Yeah, so this is the first time I'm so proud to be a dropout. But is this a problem with English language newsrooms? I don't think, maybe you can tell us about that.
So Awani is a predominant, it's a Malay language newsroom, but I am looking after the English belt. It's a crossover because Malaysians are bilingual. So you know, the children of the privileged study abroad, but they are fluent in both languages, in multi-languages. So it's, I think, also in Malay newsrooms as well.
Okay. I remember there was one stage, not so much now, but a few years ago, we used to have the same problem. It's because you have to have the children of the privileged come into the newsrooms because if you try to make a career out of it, it's not going to pay much. So hopefully, mommy and daddy will take care of all their
Yeah, and
bills.
that's the thing, right? You are a journalist because you've got a trust fund. You're a journalist because you're not worrying about the bills at the end of the day because mommy and daddy will pay for it. So the regular folk who are trying to make ends meet don't see journalism as a valued profession, which is a shame.
Right. At Chili Sauce, we have a Miam edition as well, and it's run by ex-Kazana guy. But he actually took a pay cut. He said it wasn't a pay cut because based on the amount of hours he was working at Kazana, he earned more per hour at Chili Sauce.
So you're an elitist newsroom.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, yeah. But he's not Melayu, we call it Melayu TTVI, it's a bit different.
That's a different category altogether.
Yeah.
That's an A+ category.
Yeah, sure.
I think, really, it really depends on the media organization and mission that it has. Because I know of a lot of journalists who are willing to take pay cuts to join the number of media organizations. And I salute them, really. I think, the Malaysia TV do not pay market rate for many years. And yet, you've got all sorts of people joining Malaysia TV because of mission, because they want to tell the truth, tell truth to power and hold power to come and all that. And it's amazing, really. I think there are people who are willing to do that. But of course, you cannot not pay them, the proper wages.
Side will come after you.
Yeah, that's right. Eventually you need to do that. But I think there are people who are willing to make that sacrifices, and really I think you should encourage that to a certain extent, because I think really journalism is all about at least the making some sacrifices in order to pursue our passion.
Can I just say that, I mean, it's a Sunday. I'm sure we all have things to do, especially the younger people, but I see so many young people here coming to a talk about journalism and, keeping themselves around. This is very positive. Also, I mean, before we forget, like MIDP, organizing debates, I think part of the conversation is also having a conversation like this, so we can actually analyze our thoughts, find new perspectives, and we need an audience for that. And so thank you so much for coming for this talk today. So moving on, one of the things I want to talk about is when exactly we started seeing this downturn in journalism. Because you said, was it you as well, or Stephen that said
Are you talking about revenue or enthusiasm?
Let's talk financials right now.
Financials, I think, well, depending on which country you're talking about, it's been happening for about 15 years. I think in Malaysia, it also depends on which media organizations you're talking about. But in the last 5 years, it's been a carnage, to borrow Donald Trump's misused word.
Okay. So I happen to know about some things about the Star News team. Can you give us some numbers about how that number has been reduced?
Well, it's we're a public listed company, so the numbers are out there anyway. I know we have very good cash reserves, but in terms of profits, manpower, we've gone through in the last 2 years, we've gone through 2 rounds of layoffs, right? Mutual separation scheme, and this is in addition to a BSS scheme we had 5 years ago. So our numbers are down tremendously. This is where we also depend on technology, like Stephen was talking, because now we've got fewer people who need to do more, and that's a challenge across newsrooms across the world.
Okay, so let's say we rewind the clock about that's 5 or 6 years ago. What was the size of the news team covering Malaysia, and today what is it?
Oh, I think we had about 40% more, 50%.
Compared to last time?
Compared to last 5 years ago, yeah.
So 50% down.
Yeah. In terms of editorial people.
And the amount of content you guys are generating is
The newspaper is a lot thinner these days, but you're talking to the online guy.
Less
That doesn't make a
editorial.
difference. We still produce the same amount of content, right?
I think a lot of public do not really understand, perhaps are not, they don't have the, how to put it, news organization has always been quite profitable for many, many years, thanks to advertising. The companies are willing to actually pay a lot of money to advertise the product or the services, whatever it is. And because of the fact that media organization has almost complete monopoly on the can actually, pull in quite a lot of advertisement. That has changed. I think the world has changed thanks to Facebook. No thanks to Facebook and Google. The reason why that has changed is because media organization cannot compete with these big multi-billion companies because of the fact that we cannot deliver the kind of audience that these guys can promise. I mean, because they know the audience, they know the people much better than us. Because through your likes, through the people that you're talking to, through your searches in your computer, they have profiles of who you are, what's your interest and all that. And they can tell the companies and say, look, if you advertise through us, we're able to deliver you the people that you are looking for. Say you are selling cosmetics, we are able to send you the audience, give you the audience that will most likely buy your product, not some other people who may not have interest in your advertisement. So I think that's where media organizations like us are not able to actually compete with them, because we do not know our audience as good as they are, because we do not have that kind of technology. So I think increasingly we are losing out to the point where we actually providing space in our website to for Google to serve their ads to. They will take a big cut. So companies will go to Google and say, look, I'll pay a certain amount of money, and Google will serve the ads to wherever. It could be blogs, or it could be website, could be Star, Malaysia Clinic, Hari Metro, whatever it is. And they will take a big cut. They'll take 30-40%. So instead of companies coming direct to us and we earn all the money, it's no longer the case, because Google is earning most of the money without doing anything really. That's why Yeah.
So a quick one.
Yeah, just a quick one to add to what Stephen was saying, the economics of the media industry right now. I'm always taken aback when people point at news organizations. See, you guys didn't invest in digital, you all were so dependent on print. No, I'm pretty sure it's the same case with you. We've always been investing in digital. The big difference is, especially in the last 5 years, is all the investments we put into our digital operations. According to estimates, 60 or 80% of the ad revenue go to Google and Facebook. They don't produce any content. They are sucking off our content to make money. And we put in the investment. We do the journalism. We're not seeing it. It's not that we've ignored digital. No, I can't think of any single media company in Malaysia that did not invest millions in digital over the last 15 years. It's not new to us, but we didn't account for the platform companies.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, suspect number 2, Facebook and Google. Okay? So, Nazri, yes.
As for us, things really got back 5 years ago. Before that, we were making money, although not much. But we went from 400 editorial staff to now 200. We went from 8 printed editions for almost all the states in the Peninsular Malaysia to only 1 national edition. But we still publish in 8 editions on the social media and online. So it's been really tough. And also, as Asuhan said, we invested a lot on technology, but sometimes the returns is not there. Yeah? Sometimes maybe we got it wrong, maybe it's becomes obsolete, maybe it's not the right technology. So it's sometimes it's a hit and miss technology-wise. So I feel that one of the prerogatives to make money in media nowadays is to know, master, at least you're aware of the technology stack. Technology stack means what your technology is built on, how it's going to evolve in the future, and how you're going to make money from the ROIs from your investment. Otherwise, it's going to be a bleak day for media, especially those saddled with the printed media, because printed media, I think I have made the conclusion that I think there's no way to make money from printed media. There's no way. It's a losing battle. It's a losing game. I think within 5 to 10 years, we won't see any printed magazines nor newspapers, especially newspapers. That's the sad truth. But I think our numbers don't lie. But the challenge is now, how do we make money online? That's the next challenge. And we need editorial, we need management that understands, like I said, the tech stack, the digital marketing, the content marketing. It's a new ball game. Like Mr. Khan said, we know our audience, we need to install what we call data management platform, DPM. We need to install CRM. We need to install various other technologies, and these usually come from the Western world, and they are not cheap. I think, with the exception of Malaysia Kini, they build their own, so hats off to them. But we do not have the expertise, nor the patience. Time is not on our side. So sometimes it's better to just buy off the shelf. But like I said just now, sometimes it's a hit and miss. You don't get the ROI of the investment that you make in technology. Melissa?
Yeah, just a little bit, because you guys were talking about the profitability of the newsroom, right? So in terms of advertising, if we can look at it from the subscription, because I don't have anything to do with advertising, I'm not that's out of my pay grade to look at advertising. But looking at subscription, and I'm just going to use a personal anecdote. So we've just gotten so used to getting news for free online. Thanks, Star Online, but by the way, just gotten so used to getting free.
Suspect number 3, Star Online.
They all not started with all this free news online, right? But okay, so we've just gotten used to getting free news online, that when the paywalls came up, we went, what? Why do I have to pay for news I can get free off my Twitter feed or my Facebook posts or whatever, right? And I just say that requires a mindset shift for us news consumers. We really have to get to be okay again with paying for news. Like your parents bought the papers. Every morning you had the newspaper guy, delivery guy threw your newspaper under your dad's car. You paid for that. That was paid for. Now, so I was just telling Stephen before we started. My personal story is that for the past few years, I've been freeloading off my company's Malaysia TV subscription, right? So I've just been using the mass password to read all the news. And in the last year, I have seen the quality of news that Malaysia TV has put out. I mean, they've just upped the game for everyone in journalism with their special reports and their interactive, the data journalism. The Sungai Kim coverage was phenomenal, Stephen. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to be a private subscriber. I'm going to pay for good journalism. And I'm a journalist, can you believe that? So I just say we have to get used to the concept of paying for what we used to get for free, because everything comes at a cost. Now, you pay for cloud storage. Why can't you pay for good journalism, right? You pay for Spotify streaming, pay on Netflix, or what is wrong with paying, 200 ringgit a year for Malaysia TV subscription? Oh, it's a free plug, sorry.
Thank you for fighting me for Malaysia TV. Very, very much appreciated.
I'm also a subscriber. Okay, so we've been talking about the financials. So let's change course a little bit and let's talk about how it's affecting your coverage. Okay, because we talked about the 24-hour news cycle. So we want it fast, we want it cheap. That what's gonna give? Something's gonna give, right? So Nasri, maybe you can start with this one.
Okay. We we have less editorial staff now, so that's a challenge.
How much less?
Half.
Half. So about the same. Both
Yeah.
of you guys about the same.
Half, yeah.
Where do these journalists go?
Some probably grab.
Some join the government, I hear. Yes, that too. Yes. Okay, sorry.
I personally have not felt our quality has dropped because we equip our staff with the latest gadgets, technology, and workflows. We try to convert our newsroom to digital first, mobile first. We try to get help from other news sources where we cannot do coverage. We buy those stories. So to me, our reporting has not suffered. We have always turned out the same quality of articles, features. But of course, we can always do better with more staff. So to me, we have to accept the fact that journalists have to do more. They have to be video journalists, photojournalists. Yeah. So we have to live with it. I think quality shouldn't suffer.
So everyone just has to do more and work harder.
Do more and more.
For less pay.
Yeah. And
Wow.
especially for online, it's almost 24 hours around the clock. From home, from the bathroom, anyway. I just want to start fast.
Who wants to be a journalist? Oh, hey, one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, this is like lalang in my garden. 7.
Just to add to what
Yeah,
you
sure.
said. So it's not just the number of people you reduce, but for many national news organizations doing mainstream news, especially, you cover everything. You have to close down bureaus. So if something happens in Kedah, for instance, you don't Alostar, you don't have someone on the ground anymore. You know, you have to recall someone from another city to go there, right? So perfect example was the Irish girl who got lost, right? Do you have the numbers? Can you send a full team there? Things were happening every day. There were briefings. You don't have a full team. Some news organizations decided, okay, never. We'll send a few people, have a full crew there. So they know all the stories much faster than news organizations that are struggling because it costs money to do journalism, right? And Lisa is right. I think every news organization in Malaysia, especially in the last 2 years, have actually discussed putting on paywalls. Whether they do or not, we don't know. Some have said they're going to, but then they're not to, but will KIV it for a while. But I think it's going to happen. Journalism costs money, and you guys are going to have to pay for it sooner or later.
But it's if I understand the dynamic correctly, it's kind of like a game of chicken right now, right? Everyone's looking at each other, going like, "Who's going to do the paywall first?" Because if you do it first, then I'll get the page views, and then my advertisers will pick up. That's okay. So that's correct. Okay, Stephen, what do you think about how the lack of resources has affected journalism and the 24?
You know, for those who want to be journalists, really, I salute you. I think it's not an easy job. You need to be always switched on. You know, you'll be 24 hours in that sense. You know, just as our audience expect us to deliver news 24 hours. So I think it requires special species to really for someone who can do well as journalists. It's not for everyone. So in that sense. But that said, I think a lot of media organizations tend to, they get tempted to actually go for clickbait. I think to grow audience and all that. And the easiest way, if you look at the most read news, is always sex and crime. I think
Incest always gets higher.
yeah, something like that.
Incest, I don't know what it is.
I think for Malaysia TV, we are fortunate in the sense that we are a social political news site. We do sex and crime as well, but with sex videos and IMDb scandal and all that. Corruption. Yes, that's right. I mean, so that's enough, for us to actually satisfy our audience. But I think really, while we need to ensure that we deliver, the news on time and all that, as quick as possible. But at the same time, I think there is still audience out there who appreciate longer pieces, more in-depth pieces, people like Melissa and all that, which we try to do every now and then. I think that is important, and if you can find a mix of that, I think you can do pretty well.
Okay, so I have a lead-on question that's you, sorry. With regards to the coverage that Melissa talked about, your data journalism, your heartbreaking news about the Bangladeshi deaths, how much traction does that get versus, Najib got eye infection?
You're right. I think Najib eye infection, or Najib about the fact there's a complaint about the seat is not good enough, is causing him the hernia or whatever it is. That's always been, it's just the way it is. I think people tend to attract that kind of news. But I think that at the end of the day, really, you need to also provide the in-depth information. And and there still be audience for it, rather than we focusing on just delivering, sort of sexy news to our audience.
Can I just add a little
Yeah,
bit
sure.
to that? It's supply and demand, right? We can supply great quality, but what does it matter if no one cares about it or reads it? I was at a forum once, and someone said something that made me want to cry. This person said, works in a newsroom, said, if the news article is not being shared, is it even worth writing? And I was so disheartened by that comment, and I thought to myself, well, if you're going to write something that is just for the sake of readers to share, then what kind of journalism is that? It is journalism that is baiting on your emotions, right? It is journalism that feeds on fear and anger and smugness and distrust. And is that really what we want to read? So I would say that as much as quality journalism is, desired, quality news consumption is also important. When you are the demand, we are the supply. So you have to demand for good things. You can't just click on the incest and the racial polarization and the boycott of this and that and Najib's eye infection. You have to also want to consume things that make you smarter, that makes you more talented, that makes you a better citizen. So it really is up to not just journalists, but also news consumers.
Okay, sorry, I have a counterpoint to that, in the sense that I actually had a conversation with your colleague Sharad. Actually, was Sharad here? Yeah, Sharad was here. Sharad Kutan. You in the audience? Oh, you tell already. Okay, I see. Okay. So I had a conversation with Sharad when he was with BFM on this very topic, in saying that yes, you should write something even though it's not something people are inherently interested in. But if no one reads it, is it really getting out there? And should we be doing more to try and sell it to our audience?
I think you'll find that most news organizations are aware of that. That's why many of them pay attention to social media, although we don't like to. Social media is a way of broadcasting your stories, right? I have just two anecdotal bits of data to add to it. It just happened that late last week we were reviewing our numbers, and we found that in the last 3 months, the most read story, and the Star covers everything, including sex, violence, and stuff like that, right? Was a political story. Unfortunately, it was the Nazmin Ali sex video story. Second is that.
So it's a political sex story.
The best kind of political story. But
Fusion food.
yeah, but there's another thing is because, and I've seen it with some media bosses as well. Everyone talks about the numbers, and the great thing about digital is you can get actual data on how many people are reading your stuff at any one time, right? But they tend to look at very short-term views. So we've also noticed, for instance, that if you go by the daily or the weekly most read stories, it's going to be of the clickbait-ish kind. But if you stretch over a period of 3 months or 6 months, you find that the long form, more analytical pieces, they may not be number one, they may not be the most strikingly read stories, but they tend to do well as well. So like the Star's Rage team, the Sex and Predator, even after 4 years, people are still reading that stuff.
Where's that sex in it?
Yeah, but then the Parliament, we did, the Rage team did a fantastic this thing on foreign students coming here. Still, so it didn't shoot up charts when it was first aired or published online, but there's consistent consumption of those articles, so that there is still a lot of economic value as well beyond the journalism in producing very thoughtful pieces in doing investigative journalism.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have not heard of Rage, basically it's the video investigative arm of the Star. We have one of the most award-winning teams out there running Rage right now. So if you guys have never heard of it, please go check it out. It's amazing, amazing stuff. They wait like months for a break, and they go over across other countries to track stories. Maybe you can just very, very quickly explain to us how that makes financial sense.
Well, it doesn't. This is one of the things that you as a news organization do because it's important. Although I have to say, in the last year and a half, they have been paying, the Rage team led by Ian Yee, have been paying more attention to making themselves more financially sustainable. They've got some great ideas, they've done various things. But I wonder if they could have done it if it was an independent from a big media organization. But now they are by themselves, they can do it already. But the first couple of years, it requires tremendous amount of investments in terms of resources. I mean, you may think that, right, it's just, you're not doing work, there's opportunity cost lost. There's the stuff that you have to pay salaries for months with no story coming in view. I mean, actually, they did other things as well, but this is the main focus. So you need a big media organization kind of set up, or a very tightly planned one like Malaysia TV, the work that we did with the Panama Papers and all that. You can dedicate resources to it, right?
Okay, we have about 10 minutes left. So we're going to last two questions, and then after that, we're going to open it up for Q&A from the public. How many minutes of Q&A do we have? 10, 15 minutes. So maybe about like 4 or 5 questions. So rush for the mic, guys. Okay, so last two questions. Second last question is, what do you wish the public knew about media today?
Okay, what the public should know is that we are at the edge of the cliff. We are at the edge of the cliff. You can fall either way, as you can see from the Utusan the episode saga. They almost closed. The same thing with us. I can say we closed 7 editions. From 8 edition, printed edition, to 1 edition now. And we have retrenched half of our editorial staff. So I hope that the public can support us, advertise with us, buy our subscription when you put up the paywall. And good journalism takes effort and money. And if we die, then all you're left with are the clickbaity, the frivolous, the entertaining, the funny videos. The less informed will feel they are informed. But unfortunately, you don't know what you don't know. So to be informed, you have to seek out those organizations like what you have in front of you and follow them and subscribe to them. And also don't forget Sina Harian.
What do I wish the public knew about the media business? I think one of the things that journalists take for granted is, we kind of live and die on our deadlines, right? We just set up our watches to deadlines, and that's how we live our lives. I don't think anyone else normal, like regular people, live like that. People don't live on deadlines, and with news, it used to be a daily deadline that you set your watch to. But in a 24-hour news cycle, there is no deadline. Every second is a deadline, because every second someone wants a new headline in your Twitter feed, right? So that limits considerably what a journalist can do given those constraints. And everything that we talked about, and I hope that this kind of informs you when you read something or when you watch something or listen to something, that you think about what it takes to put out that piece of news, right? It is not just a headline. There wasn't just one person sitting in front of a computer writing that headline. It was, for instance, in the FM, half an hour of talk meant a week of preparation. So before I did an interview with the minister, I would sit and research that for hours on end. That was on my own time, not the time that I was on air. So, I guess there are constraints to the journalism that we put out, and for you to be mindful of that when you consume the news, because sometimes you go, hey, how come they can talk to all the stakeholders? You try and get all the stakeholders to talk to you when you have a 2-hour deadline. It's tough. So I just want the public to be mindful of that when they are consuming.
Thank you, Stephen.
Just taking on from what Melissa said, I think definitely it is for journalists or for media organization per se. It's really hard for us to plan. I mean, at the end of the day, we would work out some of the events that's going to happen the next day, who to send and all that to cover those events. What is likely that we would like to follow up? Some news stories today that we want to follow up tomorrow. All that. I mean, there's some measure of planning there, but a lot of time when there's a news break, everything goes yeah. I mean, it's just you have to start the new. You have to reorganize your journalists. Move them elsewhere. I have, sometimes we have a situation where we have a journalist on the way to cover an event, and midway through, we would call that person and say, look, forget about this, go somewhere else, because something happened. And that happens like that. So you have a situation where journalists who are already set that I'm going to cover this event, I'm going to interview these people, these are the questions I'm going to ask, and this is more or less what I'm going to do for today. But then suddenly, just like that, that person will be doing something else, and it's completely unplanned for. So for us, it's like that, really. Business is really a situation where, that after the end of the day, the next day, you'll be completely doing something really, something different. It's not like you're making washing machine. You can plan, in terms of, okay, tomorrow we're going to do more or less the same thing, right? But not in journalism. Really, every day is different. And let's make it a lot more exciting, it makes it a lot more interesting. There is a little uncertainty that goes on in journalism. And as I said, it requires, the people who are flexible enough to be able to reorganize their thoughts and the mindset to really be good journalists.
So many things. So many things. So to the few young people who said they want to be journalists, this will sound very disheartening and discouraging. But I'll tell you one thing. It's a crappy job, but it's a beautiful calling. Right? It's fantastic. Your pay will be, and Stephen has just given you the kind of things that everyone does. It's the reason why I went back into journalism after making really good money with a US multinational. And it's also the reason I still remember May 9th, or rather May 10th last week. And when that change in government happened, and all I could do was sit back and say, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm in the newsroom today. There's no feeling with that. You were the first ones with the news. You saw, you witnessed history right before your eyes, and you were part of that history. And I'm sure Malaysia, everyone was, it doesn't matter whether you're pro-BN or pro-Pakatan or whatever, you were there when history was being made. No, very few other professions give you that, right? So don't be discouraged. Second is, if we're talking about who's killing Malaysian media, we spoke about everyone else. The other party that has to take responsibility is the government. We have very repressive media laws in this country. In the previous session, I don't know what the debate was about, but at the end of it, the crowd was asked to vote whether the government should be allowed to control the press, and 80% of the audience said yes, right? This is what's going to kill journalism, folks, right? There may be reasons you can ask for a responsible press, but you do not need repressive laws to get responsibility. There are enough laws in this country, even without the Printing and Publication Act. And third, we journalists ourselves, right? So, not all of us do a great job. Not all of us are really driven to be really great journalists. and sometimes we don't fight the fights we need to. We back up from battles we need to fight. So that's something. That's the other party that's guilty of it, right? I mean, I agree with Stephen. The first question, journalism. I think there's still great quality, good quality journalism, but we need to be stronger on our side as well, right? And it's a battle. The final thing I like to say, I mean, just to say, there are always fights. You guys don't know it because you think it's a single organization. We come up with one point of view. The number of fights we have in the newsroom, you wouldn't believe it. I'm so surprised because when I get into the mode, I use a lot of profanities. I'm here in a public place, so I can't speak what I call my newsroom language. There's a lot of cussing, there's a lot of cursing that goes on in any newsroom. We're not united, but we are a team, right? In the end, we all believe in what we're doing. We have different points of views, we fight. Finally, you guys want to keep journalism alive? Don't get your news articles via your social media feeds. Go back to the old style, 10, 15 years ago. You like a news website, bookmark it, go there directly. Do not pass Go. Do not pass Google. Do not pass Facebook. Go to the news site directly. Help us keep journalism alive.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, actually, without that summarizes the last question I had, was about how journalism contributes to society and Malaysia Day and all that. So I think Azwan did it brilliantly already. So I would like to close off the panel since we're running out of time now. Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for our panelists. And we would like to open up the floor for questions now. First hand up. Oh, wow, that was fast. Okay, this over there. Yeah, so can you, we'll pass the mic around. Sorry. There's a wireless mic, yeah. So I'll share this mic with you guys. Please say who you are, where you're from, what your question is, and who is directed to.
Hi, I'm Kwan Yi, I'm from PJ. I would like to ask how things has changed after the change of government in Malaysia, especially pertaining to the news industry. Thank you.
Who would like to go first?
I think that's been pretty good. Yeah, thanks. I think we have a government that at least recognize, hopefully, recognize the need for press freedom. Immediately after the change of government, the media industry, Malaysia TV plus a few others, we came together and we came out with a proposal to come up with a media council. The whole idea behind this media council is that the industry will self-regulate itself. It will handle public complaints. That it will ensure that there is a code of ethics that all journalists must abide to, and all that. And at the same time, when this council is set up, the government is required to repeal all the laws that has been used to restrict the media. So that is the whole deal that is in the process. I think the Information Minister Gobind Singh has really committed himself to implement this, hopefully by the end of this year. So when that happens, hopefully some of the laws that has been used to restrict the media would be either amended or repealed. And then you will have an independent media council that would handle complaints from the public.
Yeah, so it's a bit weird here, but okay. Newsrooms, I feel especially in the mainstream organizations, we are a lot more energized. It's very thrilling to be a journalist right now. There is more freedom, but there's no absolute freedom. We still get calls, we still get reminders by the Home Ministry. So it's not that we are allowed to do our jobs completely free of any political regard. We still get complaints you will see some ministers making attacks on certain media organizations still. So that still goes on. But it's really a big difference from more than a year ago.
Okay, very quickly from myself as well as a publication owner is that a lot of the times people think that the conversation is about freedom of speech. But one of the things that I would like the public to know is that the conversation among journalists in the last 5 years, even under the previous government, was more about survival than freedom of speech. Freedom of speech was definitely part of the conversation, but in terms of a daily, you talk to someone else about it, it's not so much about whether or not you're going to get imprisoned or whether or not you're going to get fired. Yeah.
Okay, sorry to drag the mic across you, Chuck. Just my own personal take, and I'm not going to assign it to any particular newsroom. I've only been at Wani for about 6 months, but I was with BFM for 8 years before that. And the difference between the new government has been far less calls from NCMC, far less visits to, to investigating officers and calls from PMO's office. But the one thing, just to write off Asahan's point was, and Stephen's point was also that we may have changed government, but that doesn't mean the mentality has changed by the people in office. So while the previous government felt like they could control the narrative of the media, this new government also has learned from that. So now that they're in power, they think, oh, well, maybe I can do something to shape the narrative in the way that the previous administration had done. So the idea is, I guess, for newsrooms around the world, media organizations to kind of change that mindset, to listen, to say, listen, you may be in power. While you're not calling us up or issuing memos and notices, you cannot use moral suasion from bosses or whatever to say, we don't like that story, we don't like that headline, we misquoted, this is our context. You can't do that anymore. I think that the new Pakatan Harapan government has to learn how to use the media well and how to be friends with the media to get their messaging across.
We jumped up 22 places in the World Press Freedom Index since the last G14. So that's an indication of the press freedom given to us, and especially on press. Yeah? But however, on the online, I think not much difference before or after the G14. Because we in Sinar Harian have always pushed the envelope, and we've always like to think ourselves as being neutral, fair, and just. So I think on the press, on the print, more freedom now, but on the online, I think there's always been quite free. Thanks.
Okay, next question. Yes, come.
Sorry, before that, can we see like a show of hands of how many questions we have total? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe we can take turns answering the question, is it?
Take turns, okay, yeah. All right, so
So
not
we'll
everybody
start
answer every question. If you have a preferable person to answer the question, do let us know as well. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for the engaging conversation. My name is Arif, formerly with Awani and also the ASEAN Pros. I'll be short-lived. This question is probably for Stephen. The fact that every day is different, right? You cover different kind of topics when it comes to news. I remember my experience was that I had to cover a sporting event one day and the next day was I had to go to court. So my question is with regards to how do you kind of fight the struggle to not be desensitized with data and information and looking at people as just statistics? Yeah, thank you.
Up to you.
I think one by one, because otherwise then we have to read. It's quite difficult. Yeah.
I do not have an answer to that question. Really. I think really it's up to the journalist concerned. But of course, as a journalist, you need to remind yourself all the time that this is our job. Really, to have empathy for the people that we are reporting on, and you just have to keep reminding yourself that. That's the only way to get around it.
Okay, next question.
Hi, Fadli here. Just came by from lunch. I think I agree that technology plays a big role in the current change of how consumers approach the media. But however, is it not true also that the content is also more important in getting more people to consume your media? So I think most of the time we see what being discussed is on the surface level. I think so. I think we are lacking things like the hard topic, hard issue, like the principle, the root of the thing being discussed. So these are deemed as sensitive, too controversial. So do you think these are the what people want and they cannot get? So that's why they don't take media seriously.
Okay, let me just clarify the question there. I'll try to shorten it. You think
Do you think we are lacking this kind of content? That's why we don't have enough consumer.
okay, Asuhan, why don't you take this one?
The numbers show that's not true. I mean, all of us, all our reporters have very deep, analytical, very brave stories. And then the numbers are not there. Not enough people read those. It's, like I said, it's sad. The most popular story in the last 3 months was an Azmin Ali sex video story. Right? So that's it. There is actually, if you go in any news website, any of the credible news websites in Malaysia right now, I think you'll find that content you're looking for is just not up there. It's not being fed into your social media feeds and all that. But the content is there. You just need to explore it more. We try to present them on our home pages, but it's not getting picked up by search engines. I think all of us are doing great journalism. My competitors in NST, Maybe, there are great stories out there. They're just not being read.
So I'm just going to add a little bit to that. So you mentioned technology, right? What you've also done, guys, and we touched on this a bit earlier, is that the algorithm determines what comes up first on your feed. So if you are clicking on sex stories and crime stories instead of institutional reform, those stories come out in your feed, and that's why you're probably thinking, why are there no discussions about institutional reform and the roots of corruption and philosophical discussions about, education and all that? It's really what you click the most, and that's how technology and the algorithm works. One more question?
Yep, next question.
Hi, my question is directed primarily to Melissa, but also to the rest of the panel. As someone who's been in radio as well as in TV, I think you've noticed in the past 10 to 15 years, especially in the West, a lot of news or media is gravitating more towards like polarizing or partisan views, so like Fox News, for example. Do you think then that the media should then, in terms of like revenue or whatever, should start gravitating more towards more polarizing partisan views rather than trying to appeal towards the middle, which I think is, not many people like the middle, but there are very much partisan people who are willing to pay to find information that they think supports their views.
Wow, thanks for that. All right.
Sorry, Melissa, before that, he says his question is related. He's just going to add a little bit.
Do you think media should have a stance in reporting? Is it correct, or rather, is it possible to have a neutral media at all? Thanks.
Wow. Okay, both really excellent questions. Actually, I would like Melissa to answer, and then Nazri as well. Yeah, definitely.
I'll keep it quite brief as well. I think one of the things that we need to be clear about is there is a difference between reporting the news and commentating on the news. Okay, there's commentary and there's reportage. So when you're reporting the news, you need to be absolutely objective. You need to present the facts, you need to present all sides of the stories to the best of your ability. And when you're reporting the news, everyone, reporters included, has bias, right? So I've been trained to report against my bias. If I'm biased a certain way, I report against my bias when I'm reporting the news. When it comes to commentary, that's a different thing. In the age of the trillion channel news choices, you can pick whatever news outlet you want that feeds into or I guess affirms your worldview, right? You can choose Fox if you lean that way, you can choose CNBC, you lean the other way, and it just affirms your worldviews and that your worldviews. So I think that most media organizations have discovered if they want to be different, they have to be media with a point of view, media with a bias or a stance or a slant. And while that may color the commentary of the news, a good newsroom will not let it color the daily reportage of reporting, or the daily news reporting. And I think news consumers need to make that distinction between what is your daily bulletin, your daily news article, what is reporting facts, and those that is commentary, those that are commentary. And then if you so want to read something that affirms your worldview, go ahead and read something that affirms your worldview. But if you want to be a better person, my advice is once in a while, go read something outside of your echo chamber, just to make you a whole rounded person. Once in a while, go and see what passes up through, what Harakah is saying. So once in a while, and it actually makes you a better person. So I think that is literacy, awareness, media literacy. And when it comes to journalists, I think most good newsrooms keep the biases out of it. So I hope that answers your questions.
Azri?
Fully with Melissa. And I can also add that there's no fully or 100% neutral media organization. There's always somebody who owns it, there's always an editor, there's always a person writing it, and that person is one way biased one way or another. Even in news reporting, I may add, you can report on something, you cannot report on something. So that itself is biased. Which story do you put on your homepage? That itself is biased. So I concur with Melissa, you've got to read from many sources. Seek those sources, the left, the right, the center, the conservative, the liberal, and make up your own mind. I think that's the best way to get the truly rounded, holistic view of the story.
So just to share, at Chili Sauce also, we try to have some sort of balance, but we're always, biased in our own directions. So what I actually did was I got a friend to add me into a BN Tech group, WhatsApp Tech group. So I get to see, it's so much fun. You guys should just try it, if you guys are not in the BN Tech group. You actually get a lot of scoops, so we got a few scoops actually from that BN Tech group. I'm not going to say which one it is, in case any of the members here to kick me out after this. But yeah, like they said, seek the other view. It's really, really important. It'll make you a better person. Sorry, next question.
Hello, my name is Lisa. I'm from UiTM Dunkirk. So, as aforementioned, right, we have media laws and so on and so forth. So, how do you proofread as editors, especially those articles who are very controversial and sensationalized, especially in our current media? Thank you.
Okay, actually, the person who can answer that is right in front of you. His name is Yu Guang, so he's the editor of Ask Legal. But anyway, I'll answer on his behalf. Do you want one particular person here to answer, or anybody? Okay, so I'll give it to Steven. Huh? No, Melissa. Okay, I'll give it to Melissa. Huh? Okay, so our view is that the more controversial it is, the more you have to stick to the facts, right? So basically, if you're talking about the 4 R's, okay, race, religion, royalty, Rosma, you have to stick to the facts, okay? Yeah, you don't go outside of the facts, because the more you go outside of the facts, that's when it gets dangerous. Whereas if something casual like social media or whatever, then you can afford a little bit of commentary. Sorry, Melissa.
I just want to add also, so not just the sensationalized part, but sometimes this is where diversity in newsrooms and in the upper management of newsrooms is important. It's important to have women as editors in newsrooms, because sometimes men can see a headline and not hear the tone of it, right? It's important to have different races in your editorial leadership, so that what they feel like, you may be tone deaf to certain things that other people are more sensitive about. So this is where diversity plays a huge role. And if you look at some newsrooms and you see the same kind of homogenous class, it's a problem. So I think that's why we have to also be quite mindful about.
Yeah, you see sex, All right, next question. I think we have time for maybe, 2 more questions, maybe? One more, last question.
Thank you. Hi, Nishan from Amnesty International Malaysia. My question is about, wait, I had it in my head how to formulate it. A lot of what was spoken today, I think, is really directly my question. We were talking just now about algorithms, and then we were talking about headlines that are sensationalized and there's clickbait and so on and so forth. In the past year, since the change of the government, we've seen a lot of stories that have been sensationalized, particularly to minority groups such as LGBTI people, migrant issues, refugees, and so on. And when one news comes out, it's just like a wildfire of sensationalized narrative. that may be derogatory and discriminating. Therefore, my question is, do you think that the media, especially editors, journalists, and writers, require training to write these kind of stories, and specifically maybe from these grassroots communities? Thank you.
Wow. Okay, who's going to take that one? Oh, okay, Stephen, here.
Definitely we need training. I think, we need training in a lot of things. That would be one of those, the issues that we need training for. I just want to say this, the reason why people were shocked that Donald Trump managed to win was because most of the media at that time did not report much or ignore the fact that there is actually a right wing and ultra right wing in the United States. And I think Malaysia is just as divided, like it or not. And I think that they are liberals on one side and they are really conservative on the other side. What media should do is hopefully to provide a platform for all these different views to come together and discuss those issues. I think we need to be for those who are liberal, for instance, they need to be alerted about the fact that there are people who do not share and who are completely very different from them in their views. And you think that these are that these are views that are completely politically incorrect or whatever it is. But fair enough, yes, they are politically correct, but they cannot be ignored because even if mainstream media ignore all those reports, all those news, social media is already doing it. And that is what happened in the United States because Donald Trump did not have to rely on mainstream media to report about all this, social media is doing it for him. So I think, increasingly, mainstream media has lost its monopoly in a sense. Social media has ended that. And we will need to, increasingly, it's not just up to the journalists, it's not up to the media organization to fight this fight. Increasingly, it's every one of you. You need to understand that there are people, there are Malaysians who do not share your views, and you need to counter that. You need to counter that every time because if you don't do it, there are other people doing it. These are the people who do not believe in an inclusive Malaysia. These are the people who do not believe in protecting human rights. These are the people who do not believe in protecting the environment. These are the people who do not believe in the fact that we should leave the world better than the one we inherited. So you have to fight it yourself.
Okay, excellent. Okay, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I know there are a lot more questions that we have to explore today, but thankfully, immediately after this panel, there's actually a debate with some of the best debaters in the country, actually talking about who's killing Malaysian media. So do stick around for that. But in the meantime, the Institute of Journalists Malaysia would like to thank MIDP and the Weekend of Knowledge Evolution, and of course our brilliant panelists today for discussing and finding out the suspects about who's killing Malaysian media. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Have a good evening. Have a great Malaysian day tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the moderators as well as the panelists. Please give them another round of applause. All right, before we pass the token of appreciations, please, the panelists and moderator, you may take your seats in the audience. And the rest of your